And welcome, everyone. We're back again this week. By the way, we just want to give you folks a heads up that we'll be coming to you on Tuesday next week, and from then on during the Fall 2 season. So look for us on Tuesday as we kind of preview and review football, as football is coming right up here. So welcome, everybody. Great to see just about all of you, except for Phil, but you see Phil on the screen there. He's present on the road right now. But gentlemen, welcome. And I guess let me begin. Some Fall 2 action that is underway would be volleyball. So Matt Williams or Phil Stacy or whomever, who wants to pick it up with a little bit of volleyball action that we've had so far?
Willie, were you chuckling because of the Sergio Dip reference there?
Yes, I was.
You see him now on the screen. I knew it.
Been busted. I'll start with the volleyball. I got a chance to see Masco, Nomit, and Danvers in a match last night, Thursday night, as we record this. A good match. Masco took the opening set, and then Danvers rattled off 3 straight. Good competitive. Nice to see. I think a lot of the rule changes that might have been in place for Fall 1 have been sort of eliminated. And so besides everybody wearing masks, it was a regular volleyball match. There wasn't anything different about it. It was great. I think 2 of the better teams in the conference alongside Marblehead, who got a nice opening night win over Beverly. And I think that was a 4-setter as well. Might have even been a 5-setter, but I think it was 4. And I think, those are going to be 4 of your better teams in the league. I think Peabody has some interesting young players. They lost their best player, unfortunately, to indoor track. So she's going to be throwing the shot put in college and has decided not to play volleyball. And of course, she had like 160 kills last year, Aaliyah Elaine. And, we've heard about kids coming out for volleyball that don't normally play. This is the first one we've heard in reverse. Of course, there's usually no track at all, except for the distance people in the regular fall. So tough blow for Peabody, but they got some nice young players that they'll be in the mix, for the top 4 or 5 spots in the NEC. And, but it's certainly got to be Danvers' conference to lose. I mean, now they've won 64 consecutive conference matches going all the way back to 2015. So we'll have to dig into our archives and figure out, if that's one of the longer conference winning streaks in the conference in any sport. I mean, I know Danvers baseball had a 2 or 3 year run. I'm not sure they hit 60.
I think it was 66, Willie, actually.
So they could be coming up on a school record. That could be a school record for longest conference winning streak. I know Peabody girls soccer in 2010 to 13 had a streak, but I don't know if it hit 60. I'll have to look that one up. Maybe one of the cross country teams from Beverly, but usually you're not running 10 meets a year. So it's a lot of years to string together 60. So it's all a long way of saying the Danvers volleyball team's on quite the run. Interesting part of that 64 match NEC winning streak is that they had lost to Masco in that stretch of games, right? But of course, Masco was a member of the Cape Ann League at the time, and now Masco's in the conference. So that's sort of, confused me a little bit when I was trying to explain it. But, nevertheless, with Lily Eldridge and Carly Goodhue leading the way with a bunch of young players, Danvers looks like a pretty tough squad once again here in this Fall 2/spring season.
Yeah, I would just to pick up on that, Willie. I wasn't at a game last night, but I talked to Ashley Shalafor, the Beverly coach. They did lose in 4 sets to Marblehead, and similar to the match that you were at, Beverly won the opening set, and then Marblehead proceeded to take the next 3. I only heard from Colleen, the Marblehead coach, through email, and they played well, but I got a little more detail on Beverly. It looks like, it's a team that they want to be on the rise up. And, you included them as one of the teams that could be near the top of the pack, maybe after Danvers and Masco. They certainly hope to be, but I think they're also looking to build the culture of the program and learn what it takes to succeed individually and as a team, and what it's going to take to play with some of those top teams while beating the teams that you should. So it should be an interesting Fall 2 season for these programs. A lot of them are going to have between 12 and 14 matches. Of course, we'll also see teams like in the Cape Ann League play, like Hamilton, Wenham, and Ipswich. I know Essex Tech has a team. So it's good that the girls have something of their own. It's not just only football this fall 2 season. We also have the volleyball, and for at least the Northeastern Conference, there's going to be indoor track being held. I've heard that might be virtual. I don't know that that's certain yet. I'm not sure it's been established. I know the Cape Ann League is still looking into possibly having a few meets maybe in April. So we could be having some track as well before April ends.
It's established that they're doing real meets.
They are, okay.
Yeah,
They're
the rules,
outdoors, right? They're gonna have them outdoors. That's what
yeah,
I'm-
outdoors. You can do the high jump and the shot put inside if you have room, but they want to have you mark off the indoor distances on the outdoor tracks. And it's going to be boys and girls at the same day and time as is tradition. And they are limiting it to 35 competitors per team. So that's 70 total, I guess, per team, boys and girls. So that's interesting. There's not going to be any JV races except for the home team. So you'll have to race against your teammates if you're on JV. I have heard a number of teams in the conference, the numbers are way down, mostly because of the boys sprinters playing football and a couple of kids playing volleyball as well. So numbers down. I think most of our teams are going to treat it like a preseason to the spring, but it'll be every Wednesday in the Northeast Conference. Teams have, I believe it's 5 weeks and 4 meets with a bye week, and you're allowed to schedule a meet. In the middle, in your bye week, you can schedule a crossover meet if you want. You don't have to. So nice to see. Hey, something different. Get some different kids involved, hopefully, and should be fun. Especially in April when the weather's a little bit better.
Well, you guys transitioned so quickly from volleyball to track that I didn't get a chance to put my closing note on volleyball. Swampscott also was a winner on Thursday night over Winthrop 3-1. But I didn't want to kill that story, so to speak. Okay.
Nice. Well, you're a real ace, Bill. So thank you. I dig it.
Glad you're able to dig that one up.
Bill gave you a nice set.
Yeah. I think we should have spiked this whole segment here.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's volley out of this.
Yeah, there you go. Nice transition, guys. We can transition to anywhere now, but high school football, they're out practicing. Teams are working out. And again, we noted that we're going to be switching our time here on the podcast to air on Tuesday rather than Saturday morning. So as we review and preview, but just a quick observation, we won't go into the matchups or anything like that quite yet, but give me some thoughts on what you've been hearing about football so far and as far as practices are concerned. Bueller?
I can start.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Why don't you start us off with the Fishermen and the Hornets?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Coops.
All right, sure. Yeah, I mean, both got some scrimmages coming up. I know Gloucester was taking on hosting Masco. That would have been yesterday at the time this airs, but it's really going to start in about 15 minutes. The Manchester Essex, I believe, is scrimmage in Ipswich tomorrow. So that's Gloucester's only scrimmage. Manchester Essex is supposed to have another one with North Reading next week, but their coach told me at the beginning of the week they may change that into a real game depending on how they look in Saturday's scrimmage. So that's kind of a weird situation, especially monitoring Georgetown. Manchester Essex was scheduled to play Georgetown in the final week, as all the Thanksgiving rivals play. And Georgetown at the moment is shut down, so that would leave Manchester Essex with only 5 games. And they want to play more than 5 games. So if Georgetown isn't back up and running, you might see the Battle of the Hornets next Friday, Manchester Essex in North Reading. And I mean, that's about it here. Everyone's just getting ready. Another week to go.
Yeah. Nick, were you going to pick something up there? I'm not Nick Giannino.
Sure. Yeah. No, I haven't completely made the rounds across the area yet. I'm sure Willie and Phil can chime in here, but I did want to talk about Bishop Fenwick a little bit. They seem to have a pretty good squad there. Obviously, last time out there, they went to the Super Bowl in Division 6. So, but a lot of their talent is still on the team from that team, which is great. I mean, a guy like Stefano Fabiano, their talented wide receiver there, alongside, Angel Martinez. Both of those guys are seniors. It's kind of funny. they've been a part of the program so long now, you almost feel like they'd be graduated, especially with the season off. But they're back in the fold, so 2 great weapons there. I know Bishop Fenwick played Danvers in a little scrimmage the other night, and Coach Dave Wood said Martinez had 2 touchdowns, and both his receivers there are looking really good. Another guy to look out for on them is one of their linemen, sophomore Liam Andrews. I'm sure Phil and Willie could probably add to this. I'm sure he's been talked about, but Coach says he's a sophomore. He's about 6'4", 265, so he's already getting some Division I look. Boston College, I know, was eyeing him a little bit. So they tend to get some big boys over at Fenwick, and seems like they're filling that up right away with the sophomore there. So I think the Crusaders are poised for a pretty good season here, and they got a lot of senior leadership. I think 18 seniors on the team, so they're picking things up pretty quick. I know it's a weird, shortened, preseason here, but they should be all right with all that senior leadership and guys that have been working on their game really for this moment. So I just wanted to highlight them real quick.
I know one guy that's impressed for them that's not necessarily a household name is Jimmy Espinal from Salem. I think he just committed to playing college at WPI and is a lineman that could potentially go both ways and gives some of their guys a break. So Jimmy, nice to see a boy from Salem. Not their only boy from Salem. They have Jake Connolly too over there, and another guy, one of my favorite players on the North Shore to watch, Jake, is he plays that safety spot like Lawyer Malloy used to, the way he hits people. So two witch boys making noise for the Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jason Romans could have a really big spring too for Fenwick. He's such a good athlete.
Willie's shaking his head. Is he not playing, Willie?
Well, did Woods mention him to you? I heard he might have had an injury from the hoop season that might prevent him from.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Bad. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even think of that, but Woods didn't mention it. He's obviously a tremendous athlete. He's someone that would be, a key player for them. So maybe that the injury is holding him back.
So that would leave them with what, Wilson and Stephen Woods at quarterback then, I think, right?
Yeah, I think they're going with Chris to start the season, Chris Wilson. But of course, the other ones in the mix as well.
Stephen came in, I remember, they were down to their 3rd string quarterback in the Super Bowl last year. He came in and led them on a touchdown drive, throwing a touchdown pass in that Super Bowl.
That's right.
And Chris is a kid that can do a little bit of everything. So if they choose to go in that direction, he could line up at tight end, receiver. That kid's a true athlete. You could do some razzle dazzle stuff with him. And the back from Gloucester, I think, Nick Tucker Destino, he's another beast for them. So Fenwick's got the NEC All-Star team over there. They get kids from Peabody, Salem, Gloucester, everywhere.
Yeah, they got to feel pretty good going into the year.
I don't know, Willie, if you talked to Ryan Nolan or not, but they seem to have some kids who don't traditionally play football coming out for the team this year. I know James Carmelia joined the team last year. He's a hockey kid who came out for the football team. This year, I think Brian Taylor, who led the hockey team in scoring, is coming out as I want to say like a fullback and a linebacker for them. So, if you're looking for silver linings in this crazy year of high school athletics, maybe that's one where kids are having a chance to come out and try sports and hopefully make an impact where they haven't had a chance to before.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, I know Carter Coffey for Hamilton Wenham. He's going to be playing football this year. That's a big boy and a really good athlete, so he'll help them out. He's usually a soccer player, but with the already having the chance to play soccer, he said, "What the heck."
Another potential guy, and I don't remember if he played football last year or not, or maybe he was hurt, but it's Drew Lucas for Peabody, Division I lacrosse guy, going to Bryant University, had a pretty good hockey season, and I know they're really thrilled with the way he's been playing at the outside linebacker so far in the preseason. So that's another guy that I don't remember. He didn't play. If he was on the team last year, he didn't play much. So he's either going to be an unsung hero or else he's new to the game and is really making an impact.
Maybe we should always have 4 seasons of high school sports, huh? What do you think? 4 sports.
See how much ADs would like that.
Yeah.
Do we
I
get
think,
playoffs if we have them? We actually get a tournament?
right.
It's funny. I was thinking kind of tongue in cheek. I was thinking, I wonder if some of these seniors will redshirt, but actually there was a news story that Kentucky, I think it was Kentucky or Tennessee, one of those states, was considering allowing seniors to play again, that missed out on some of their athletic time, so it's not that far-fetched, despite coming from me, so whatever. So
All that.
gentlemen, let's just jump. I wanted to have you touch on, I know you guys were covering your all-stars, your players of the year. Phil, I want to start with you. Will Shull is the Marblehead boys hockey player, your player of the year. Just tell me a bit about him, why he is so special, why he picked up that honor, and if you want to make any other all-star comments, it's yours.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Shelley's been a 3-year captain, which I think is pretty unique in any sport at this level, but certainly in boys hockey, it says quite a bit about him as a leader and how he's viewed by his peers and his coaches. He had the mythical Triple Crown on the North Shore this year. He led in goals, assists, and points. 15 goals and assists and 30 points. Had a 7-point game on opening night, had a couple of 5-point games. They could play him at center. They could play him on one of the wings. They dropped him back on defense if they needed to. He's a very good skater, handles the puck extremely well, especially in tight spaces. Creates a lot of matchup problems for other teams. I mean, in a lot of years, we, hem and haw about who's our best player and who should we give the award to and whatnot. This year was a virtual slam dunk. And there was nobody to add to their resume in the playoffs, and nobody had a spectacular team season. So Will was an easy pick. We had a bunch of other all-stars, obviously. I think the only team in our area that wasn't represented was Swampscott. They had a winless year with a very young team, and not that they don't have good players, but we tried to represent them as we could. Cam Martin for Bishop Fenwick had a real good year. He was a good all-star pick for Fenwick. I want to say Masconomet, which was the co-NEC champions, had 3 with Nick McMillan, goalie Lucas Canelli, easy for me to say, Canelli, and freshman AJ Sacco. St. John's Prep had a couple, and Aiden Holland and goalie Cam Smith. Hamilton Wenham didn't win a lot of games, but their goalie Grant Landon was terrific, so he got a couple. So yeah, it was a good year for boys hockey, all things considered. But Will was pretty universally recognized as the best player in the area, whether teams played against him or not. So yeah, he was an easy pick.
Matt, you want to pick up on the girls hockey?
Oh, the girls hockey was the opposite. It was not an easy pick between Gabby Davern from Bishop Fenwick, our player of the year, and Jen Flynn from Peabody, who was voted MVP of the Northeastern Hockey League, which is, that's a little bit of breaking news there, secretive stuff. We can give a speech about the NEC and their supposed ban on all-stars if we want, which is kind of silly at this point. And, I heard they're going to potentially allow all-stars for fall too, which I would say if you guys are going to do that, if you're listening, tell your winter coaches to still vote on theirs now, because they're going to be really angry. Football gets enough of a bad rap of getting extra privileges. We don't really need this on top of it. But anyway, I've digressed. Gabby is a tremendous player. She led the area in points per game. Fenwick only got to play 11 games because of a COVID shutdown. And she was 1 off the total points lead, and was also the leader in career points of active players. She had 106, I think it was, and really had a chance to break the Fenwick school scoring record had she played a full season this year. And just a great kid, Essex Tech student from Danvers who wants to be an electrician, which is really cool, I thought. And one of the things that really stood out to me about Gabby is, when I wrote a story about her when she scored her 100th point, she said the thing that she was most proud of was that all of her line mates over the years had their most points in their careers playing with her. And, she really liked making her teammates better and helping kids like Lexi McNeil and Amanda Blanchett and, some of her other line mates hit 30, 40 points, which they didn't, before she was on their line. So I thought that was a cool thing for her to say. And, obviously tough to win MVP in the Catholic Central League when you're going up against the St. Mary's kids. I mean, Jenna Chaplain from Peabody, I think she had 37 points. So she might have been the only skater in the whole state that had more points than Will Shull in boys or girls. I think anytime you get 30 odd points and, in a pandemic year. And I know St. Mary's played a lot more games than just about anybody else in America. I think, even the girls hockey team played something like, almost 20 games and, so would have been tough for Gabby to be MVP of her own league there, but certainly a great player and one that we'll miss watching, on the ice for Fenwick.
I'm going to zip right.
Jump in. I do all-stars a little bit different from these guys. I can't really do each sport because it'd be really watered down. But, my two players of the winter were both, hockey players. So I recognize them on the boys' side. Jack Costanzo, who was, kind of easily our best player in the area, 20 points in 9 games this season. He's got 111 career points in only 52 games. So he's kind of moving up Gloucester's all-time, boys ranking list. If he sticks around next year, he'll probably make the top 3 or 4. And then on the girls' side, it was Mia Sala from, Gloucester girls hockey, another 20-point scorer. She had 14 goals in 14 games and really kind of, made the Gloucester's transition into, varsity hockey a little more seamless, a little less challenging than it probably would have been without her out there.
Great player. I can tell you she was a unanimous selection for the first team, non-all-stars, but from the coaches in the league. Great player.
He was also one of our Moynihan Lumber Student Athletes of the Month as well.
Nice. Nick Giannino, what about boys basketball? What can you share with us?
Yeah, we had the boys run on Friday's paper, and Player of the Year went to Aiden Callahan of St. John's Prep. I thought it was, tough to pick against him. He's a senior captain, 2-year captain. Been with the varsity program for 4 years now. They had a couple losing seasons the past few years, but they were able to get over the hump this year and have a pretty successful season in a really competitive Catholic conference. And he was the driving force, really talented player, kind of does it all for them. He's a great scorer, but he kind of took a back seat in that department this winter. Raleigh Castanera, the sophomore there, kind of took the reins as the leading scorer, and Aiden decided to facilitate. He still averaged about 14 points, which is, nothing, no slouch there, but, averaged an area best 8 assists per game, which is tough to do. Anytime you're up over 5 assists at the high school level per game, that's a pretty good number. 4 rebounds, couple of steals. So just a really solid all-around player, and coach speaks the world about him. He's a great leader. Terrific defender, always guards the opponent's best player. So that was a pretty easy decision. I don't want to say it was unanimous, but I think we feel pretty good about that. And Aiden's going off to play hoop next year at WPI, so he's got a bright future ahead of him. Rest of the All-Stars, pretty spread around this year. I don't think there was any is there any teams, maybe Essex Tech didn't have one. They had a little bit of a down season, but most of our local teams had all-stars, and they were well represented. We had 3 from Hamilton Wenham, 3 from Beverly, who went undefeated, and 3 from Salem as well, who went 12-2. Kind of surprised a lot of teams. So spread around nice. There's a lot of good athletes. So one thing I noticed was a lot of the all-stars were great 3-point shooters, which you see a lot these days. Kids lighting it up from 3. So a lot of good shooters around, and I think that's only going to, continue to progress in that direction with more and more kids, shining with their shots.
I'm just going to, add one boys basketball note here that looks like the Lynn teams, classical and English, will be playing their basketball season starting now in the Greater Boston League. And I want to make a note that Lynn Classical, I'm thinking it's been just almost 45 years. It's well over 40, but it maybe not be 45 years. But there's been a Grassa on the bench at Lynn Classical High School in some capacity for about 45 years until now, till this season, because Tom Grasser was an assistant coach on the program many years ago. Then he became the head coach. And then his son joined his coaching staff, Jasper Grasser, and Jasper just stepped down at the end of last season. And so now Marvin Avery, the former Lynn Tech coach, is the boys basketball coach at Classical High School to start this, what will be a season, I guess, starting this coming week when they go into the Greater Boston League for I guess, basketball. But that's been a run of about 45 years, a great family, Tom Grasser and Jasper Grasser, father, son from Lynn Classical High School. And so it'll be, in a way, kind of sad not to see one of those guys on the sidelines at Classical High School. They've been a fixture there at Lynn Classical. That goes way back even to the old high school on North Common or South Common Street, which one of those two, but whatever. So a little boys basketball note there. Guys, we just have a couple minutes left here, but I don't know where you want to go with this. Celtics, Bruins, quick comment from either one of you. Nick, Celts, want to do that?
Yeah, sure. I got my, first opportunity to get into the TD Garden this year. They've been really strict with media, not allowing so many folks. Obviously, there's no fans. They're going to start to allow some fans soon here. I think what we say 12%. So, a few hundred fans, which will be nice, but definitely a different vibe in there this year. I was hoping maybe to hear some of the chatter on the floor and the sneakers squeaking and everything, but they pump that crowd noise in pretty good. It's not just what you hear on the TV. It's actually, in the stadium as well. But Celtics, I don't want to say they're playing great, but they're definitely trending in the right direction. 4 straight wins heading into the All-Star break now. They got a questionable victory over Toronto last night. Really high-scoring game, let up a lot of threes, but we're able to close it down the stretch. And they're starting to finish some games here, which has been, a real issue for them. So hopefully they can continue to, be able to produce down the stretch like that. I wrote about Kemba Walker. A lot of people were pretty pissed at him, thinking he's not the guy anymore. He's washed up. We need to get rid of him. He's the problem. I just don't really think that way. I think that he was struggling to kind of find a rhythm after getting back from injury, but he seemed to have found a little groove here, 4 straight games with at least 20 points, and then he had 15 and 6 on Friday. So he's starting to find his stroke a little bit, and if he can get back to that all-star level, it's just a completely different Celtics team with him running the point and, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown around him. So some positives for the Celtics. Like I said, I think they we would have expected them to have a better record at this point in the year, but still a lot of basketball left to be played. They're 4th in the conference. I think if they make a little bit of a splash here with the free agency or the, buyout market or through a trade, however it may be, we're hoping Danny Ainge pulls trigger on something here to, get them going.
Phil, we have a minute or so. Do you want to make an observation on those Bruins?
Yeah. Quickly on the Bruins. I wrote the other day about how they have 15 games in a 28-day stretch, which is killer. So how they come out of this, I think, will really determine how they're going to fare for the rest of the season. How healthy they are, if they've made a trade, if they've been able to surpass Washington for the top spot, or if they've tread water or even, taken on some. The one thing I want to mention is Chris Kreider from Boxford, former player at Masconomet, Phillips Academy, and your good friends at Boston College, Bill.
Yeah.
Been on an absolute tear lately. He's got 13 goals, which is 4th in the entire NHL. He's leading the NHL in scoring from February 20th on. I think he has 9 goals in his last 6 games. He's had 2 games in the last 5 with hat tricks, including Thursday night. He had a natural hat trick, scoring 3 in a row against New Jersey. He's really pulling it all together for the Rangers this year. And, this Rangers team has struggled a little bit, but he's keeping them afloat, not single-handedly, but certainly doing a great job for them. And, we've written certainly too about Colin Blackwell for the Rangers, who's also playing very, very well. 5 goals, I think, really unexpected source of scoring for the Rangers for the former St. John's Prep product. So 18 goals between Kreider and Blackwell. That's not too shabby on Broadway.
A lot of good local athletes having their way here in the pros. Pat Connaughton's been playing huge minutes off the bench. I think he had 15 points the other night. And Michael Carter-Williams, Hamilton product there. He's back in the starting lineup in Orlando. So nice to see him do some good things.
Nice.
Great stuff, gentlemen. We will see you next week early and to post on Tuesday, the next session, and we'll be previewing some high school football matchups at that time. Until then, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you at that time, but have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
See you guys.
Thanks.